good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome back to Lie to Yourself, Not Me, Real Talk with Miss Lady J. Y'all know me. I'm your host, Miss Lady J. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate y'all. Want to go ahead and bring on my co-host, Miss Crystal. Come on in. Come sit with me, lady.
Hey, Lady J.
Hey,
Good
how are
evening.
you? How
Oh,
you?
great.
How's your week?
TGIF? Is that played out yet? TGIF?
Ooh,
TGIF.
girl. Yes, yes, for me, definitely. I've been sick this week. So, yes, TGIF. I'm glad I'm feeling better on a Friday. So, that's a good thing. So, I'm
That
happy.
is a good
Yeah.
thing.
How was your week?
My week was good,
Yeah,
productive.
productive. Okay.
I stood in my first virtual line for a sold out product. We can talk more about that in a minute. And that was a little stressful. I didn't
Oh,
get what I needed.
uh-oh.
And it was a virtual experience of trying to buy something. And within 2 minutes, it was sold out. So I was a little bummed about that because I stayed on that website for 2 hours just to make sure I had access to the website. We could talk more about that later, but that was my week. But other than that, work was productive. Projects are productive, moving along. And you look good, by the way. Love that top.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Is that blue?
Is what?
Is that a blue nail polish? I love
Oh,
it.
it's the same from last week. Next week, I'm going to get a feel, though. I'm going to get a feel next week.
I didn't
Next
even
week, we're
notice.
going
They look good.
to see
Okay.
that's cool. All right, y'all. Thank y'all again for joining us tonight. We are up first. Let me get where can we find you, Crystal? Where can we find you?
Yes. You can follow me at My Thoughts Could Be a Blog. Just how it sounds. My Thoughts Could Be a Blog. Blog coming soon, so I'll let you know once that launches. But for now, follow me on Instagram. My Thoughts Could Be a Blog, and keep up with the updates once the blog launches.
All right, awesome. And y'all know me. Y'all know my favorite place to be. Y'all know me, Miss Lady J. I love to be on TikTok. Y'all can find me at Lady J 1111 on TikTok. Y'all know I have two business pages. I have one on Instagram, which is _J's_delights, or excuse me, decadent_delights. Then I have my Facebook business page, which is just J's Decadent Delights. And then I have my Instagram page, which is at Ladyman 2008. So yes, so that's how you can reach me. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow. Everything blurred, everybody on here. We're gonna have some other guests that are gonna come on with us a little bit later. And so make sure you follow them. We'll have them tell us where they can be reached as well. Make sure you follow all of our blurred podcasts. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook. We also have an Instagram page. So make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. Hit that bell on the YouTube so you get your alerts, okay? Hit that bell. Okay, that's what
Subscribe.
I'm saying, right? So then you never miss an episode of any of us. Thank you. So tonight we are going to be stopping through. Thanks for stopping through. Hello. Tonight we're talking about communication and relationships, holding on to toxic relationships. For me, out of comfort. That's kind of where I feel it goes. And then building your perfect partner. So that's what we have going on this week. So I think this should be some interesting conversation. And I'm gonna let the guests kind of come in if they feel is needed for them. Unless they want to pop on in with me tonight already, and we can just introduce ourselves and we can just get it all started with all of us. You made it late. Hey, Dirty Diana, it's all good.
Right on time. Right on time. Wait, before we get started, I got a forewarning. Lady J, I need your
Yeah.
help.
What's up?
Make sure I keep my arms down. This might be a little bit TMI, but I was on a work call today, right? And I'm just sharing.
Okay.
I have on like a half hoodie, but it's it's like a little sweatshirt, so it
You was
doesn't
out there
feel.
getting off the show.
So I don't have a bra on.
Y'all, Crystal was out here giving off the
So
show. Lord,
I'm like
we
raising
got trying to get
my
them
hand.
great.
Luckily, I caught it, right? And I'm like, oh snap! Like the darn hoodie is not as big as I think it is. It lifted all the way up and nearly showed a tata. So, Lady J, make sure I keep my arms down.
So okay, we're gonna have a code, right? Okay, so if I do this, that means put them arms down, okay? Put them about to have creeps in the
Listen, we
inbox.
have a snowstorm hitting Virginia. I'm like in the crib. I'm hanging out, braless with my sweatshirt. So yeah, keep me calm.
Listen, that's it right here. So if I do this,
here we go.
just know, bring them on down. Bring them on down.
I have to catch myself.
All right. So tonight I want to talk about communication and relationships. Actually, Mr. Hennessy, if you could come on in and join us, and then La Rouge, I don't know how to say your name. I apologize already in advance because I always messed it up. If you could come in, because Mike and I actually had this conversation before picking it as a topic. So, Mr. Hennessy, could I get you to join us? Could I get you to join us tonight?
I'm super excited about this topic, by the
Are
way.
you? Why?
Yeah, because communication is super important, and it's the number. Wait, have you ever met someone that, and while Mr. Hennessy and Lelouch makes their way in, I'm just gonna run my mouth. But have you ever met someone who is like so big on, like, you know, saying that, like, oh, communication matters and no one communicates anymore, but that same person just does not know like what it means to communicate. And I think that's where I was going to go with this. Like, a lot of folks will say communication matters, but do we really know what that means? But anyway.
No, I think that's a good point. No, I asked you to come in because you and I started the conversation, but I wanted you to talk about your point. Do you remember what you were saying when we talked about it?
The communication in relationships?
Yeah, with you and your partner and things of that nature.
Okay. Yeah, I remember it. I'm over here giving out these fire secrets right now. So,
but that's okay. That's okay. You trying to help people. Look, you helping people tonight.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things for communication is remembering to comfort each other in the communication itself. So you can have times in the communication where y'all not getting along, where somebody might come to you a certain way and might seem hard, it might seem fierce, it might seem anything, but you have to comfort each other within the communication too, because if you don't, you're going to lead. This is how arguments get as deep as they get, because someone isn't trying to figure out what the core reasoning behind the conversation is. Somebody started with the intention to do this, and then it went a whole different way. And sometimes if y'all do not, like, if y'all don't connect on that level and fall back and come back to it, like, maybe, like, how would I say this? Like, let's say me and Crystal, like, we're dating, we got an argument or something like that. You know, it was a slight communication error. It might have been something that was more of a trigger than it was just something, you know, that just made you mad. You know, triggers are those things that it's always a little bit deeper. So if I didn't pay attention to what you were saying and you gave me key words of something that you're saying, I just took it personal right away. Right there, it's the communication is killed because I'm taking it personal. And believe me, I just experienced this. You know, like, it's just more of a recent thing than anything. And it was something that I had to learn. And it was like, okay, I get it now. So sometimes you don't have to get so deep into an argument just to get to the core of what it really was. You know what I mean? It's okay to, I guess, sometimes to sit back and listen, especially men, you know, not to blame us, but sometimes we got to sit back and listen, because the first thing we want to do is we want to look at it as people being emotional. And that ain't always the situation. Looking at somebody being emotional, you actually defeating something, and that's how you start losing your lady little by little, tiny bits of it. You start losing.
You know me and that generalizing. You know, I don't like that generalizing. Generalizing. I feel like people just don't listen in general. I feel like and I think that's the breakdown in communication a lot of times, is that people really aren't listening. Everybody's just trying to get their point across. Everybody just like Crystal said, like, people, they're like, oh, communication is key, but you don't know how to listen. You don't know how to listen. So I think that's the problem. I think a lot of times the breakdowns, you know, people don't understand that with communication, you have to have understanding. And I always talk about on live that, like, when I'm on TikTok or just in general, when I talk to people, I talk to my kids, I talk to people in general, I always tell them, like, when I'm having a conversation with somebody and I'm telling them, hey, I need you to do, if I say, Crystal, you know what, I really didn't like, you know, the other day you came at me and you said that, you know, you didn't like that shirt I had on, looked like I was going to church or something.
We on that.
I'll say something and I tell her I don't like it. And she says, oh, okay, I understand. Right. And then 2 days later, she comes to me and she be like, yo, I don't like those pants you got on. They look like, you know, you going to, you know, church again. I'm not liking it. I just told you I didn't like something. You said you understood, and here you are with it again. So when I'm talking to somebody, I ask them, I take the blame. I'll take the blame 100% of the time. And I'll say, you know what? Maybe it was me. Maybe I misunderstood. I want to make sure that we're both on the same page. I like clarity. So I want to make sure I understood what you were saying and you understood what I was saying. So what is it that you took from what I asked of you or what I said to you?
Oh,
And it gives them that space and that time to tell me what they heard. Hey, Brittany, how are you? So you see what I'm saying? So I feel like that's really important.
hey, what's going on? She shouted
Hey,
everybody.
lady. Oh, thank you for greeting. Y'all know I love it when y'all greet the whole room.
Yeah.
Communication.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I want to clarify something with you real quick, Lady J, before they go. Whenever you're ready for me to clarify it.
oh no, go ahead, clarify.
So when I usually generalize certain things, there's a reason why I might do this particular thing to men in general.
Yeah.
Because of how we are raised, and a lot of men get that
Mm.
masculine thing about them where they feel as though it's that that head of the household type of mentality, where it's like you're just being emotional and not taking what you're saying into consideration. Quick story. So family member love my cousin death, but I gotta mention this one particular thing. His wife was pregnant. He was hanging out with me, and he got frustrated, and she was very frustrated with him over something. Like she was saying something to him, saying things like, I'm always in the house. It had nothing to do with me. It's just that she was just frustrated about something. And then immediately he was like, listen, man, she's pregnant. She's just emotional. And I'm like, bro, you got to listen to more than just that.
Yeah.
Because if you're just looking at it as that, you'll never really see what the real point is. You can actually, that's why I say, like, sometimes we can lose y'all within little pieces can start happening little by little as time going on. We understand that people, when you're pregnant, of course, your emotions is heightened because you're dealing with you're dealing with child being inside you. Like, that's definitely a big thing. But to ignore certain things about it is just, that's where it goes wrong, and that's where it can become a real problem. That's what I was really saying. Like, you can chip away from the person in your life little by little, because they don't. I don't think people take mental notes, and they can be this big, but they take those mental notes and they start adding up. So
yes, they do. Correct.
What?
Well, people miss a lot.
Cartier, after the show, I'm gonna hit you up, brother.
Yo, that's too funny. What's going on, bro?
No, I agree with that. I can understand that. And I know that sometimes it is different. You know me. I just believe that a lot of times people like to throw the gender thing out there and just assume that that's what it is. When a lot of times, yes, there's it's never a one size fits all in my eyes, in my opinion. There's never a one size fits all. And there are those exceptions. You know me. I just hate to, because I feel like everybody has a moment where they don't listen. They do chip away, because women chip away. I mean, let's be honest. How many times have women chipped away at men? You know what I'm saying? You ain't no good. You this, you that. Woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think we all do it. And so that's my thing. That's what I was saying. Crystal, what do you think about communication and relationships?
I'm loving this conversation. Go ahead, Crystal. Go get him.
I agree with everything that you are all saying. I think I would just want to bring in another idea here around communications, which is a little bit more straightforward. Like, some people just don't communicate. And that's something that I've struggled with. Like, people feel things, they hear things. Lady J, for example, in your scenario, you share with Mike Hennessy that you didn't appreciate that he said you look like you're going to church, right? In your shirt. Now, Mike Hennessy... keep the game, right? Mike Hennessy really got a problem with the fact that you just spoke to yourself and spoke up, not because you really did anything wrong, so to speak. Maybe you triggered something out of him because he had a controlling girlfriend last year, right? Who knows, right? You told him what to do, so he's triggered now. And rather than expressing that, Mike Hennessy come back next week and tell you he don't like those jeans you wearing, and you're looking at it like, did he just not hear me? He heard everything, but what he didn't.
You got it if you want, Otis.
I'm not trying to pick on you, Mike, but
no, you're good. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
Whether it's Mike or anybody else, what's very important is we have to really start to work on communicating how we feel about things. If something triggers us, if we don't like you spoke up, for example, right? It's important that you did that. So great, you're communicating. But then we get these people who get in their feelings, and then they don't respond well in these scenarios because it's not that they didn't hear you. It's just they're triggered and now they're not expressing their feelings. And it's a lot of that happening in friendships, workplace, relationships, where we are going like inside too much and we're not speaking up about, I'm sorry, you know what? It made me feel some type of way that you told me that I can't tell you how I felt about your shirt. Because if you say that, now we can talk, right? Now we can talk, and now you're happy at the end of the day. Mike Hennessy's happy. Now we all just and I think that's my problem too. People be in their feelings a lot and they hold on to shit, and then they're not gonna communicate. I'm gonna leave that there and throw the baton somewhere else. But that's how I feel.
No, I agree. Them triggers are something else, and a lot of people don't. They hold on to it. I hate when people hold on to it and then they bring it back later. And it's like, why you didn't say something in that moment? Like, if that's what you felt right then, why are we dealing with this 5 weeks later? Like, why are we dealing with this later? Like, why we didn't do it right now? Like, I can't stand it. I can't stand that. That absolutely drives me insane. Because, like, we could talk about it right now instead of waiting. But I get that because a lot of people don't know how to communicate. Fun fact, look,
they create memes and write Facebook posts about you on some like undercover stuff and like, bro, why you ain't just tell me you had a problem? Like I missed that one. Listen,
no.
That is a problem.
Can I be real about why a lot of people do that? Because people are kind of can I curse a little bit here? Or is
I'm not on TikTok. Go ahead.
People are bitches. Like people are afraid of confrontation. People are so bothered by what could possibly go wrong in a situation instead of actually like dealing with that situation and seeing how it turns out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's in everything. Like that's in relationships, friendships, life, like all over the place. But once you get to that point where you just gotta say fuck it and just deal with it, because if that's what you want, like you have to have those hard conversations. And
I agree. It is. I would say it's like a man. Those triggers can be painful and dangerous. They can, but I think that you have to deal with those triggers. That's the thing. Like, you just can't keep holding on to these triggers and then being like, oh, it's just a trigger for me. Oh, and then you done bled out on somebody because they said something that triggered you. And now they supposed to just bow down and be like, oh, but I'm so sorry that I triggered you. No, listen, deal with your triggers. I don't do the toxic, like, oh, well, they're just that way, so let's just deal with it.
I can see it.
Thank you. I guess. Oh, that's you know what? A good point that you just made when you said that people damn. Lelouch, what did you just say? You just said something about how like people bitches, right?
Yeah, because people they think so much about what could go wrong that they don't ever do it until it boils up so much that it explodes out instead of just talking about it in a cohesive and like
I need to hear about these Erykah Badu vibes. I'm sorry.
It's the eyes. It's the eyes.
It's
the hair, the eyes.
It was like it's the bun and then the eyes. Yeah.
Oh. But when you said that people were BITCHs, right? Like, I feel like you got people like, I speak my mind, right? And I communicate. I feel that I communicate. I will say, I go soft and I go quiet when I'm dealing with people who don't know how to communicate. And then I'm like, you know what, F it. So I tend to
because it's not worth it. Because even if
I feel like I take the brunt of all the bullshit because I like do communicate. People think you're aggressive. People think that you're problematic, but like I just want to talk about it now, and that's crazy. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. I'm venting.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
Really, that's because that's what happens when you express yourself. Now you're aggressive.
She said, "I'm venting." I'm so strong.
That's the thing that people aren't used to real people. They're used to people being just super polite and all of that other shit.
I am polite. But when you take me to that other level, now I have to be very blunt.
Exactly.
I have to explain to you very clearly. No, but you're right. They are. People are so soft nowadays. Like, you can't do nothing. That's why so many people get banned on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and everywhere else because you mad because somebody said something you didn't like. You know what you can do? Scroll. Scroll.
And it's just like what you were saying before. Like, when people get those triggers, they automatically respond instead of like actually taking a step back. It's like, oh, you weren't necessarily trying to do this to hurt me specifically. You just hit a thing that did hurt me.
Yeah.
And you don't even know that you hurt me because you're just talking like you normally do. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you expect people to understand your point if you don't speak it? Like, people are not psychic. Like, there's no, you're not just trained. Like, you can read somebody's facial expressions, but that can only tell you so much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think.
Talk.
But you know what? Sometimes I think so. Okay, so you have some people who don't. Like Jennifer said, she has issues with communication. Once upon a time, I did too. I didn't express. I was not as vocal as I am once upon a time. I literally used to write letters to people just to express what I had to say because I felt like I got talked over. Like I ended up feeling like I was the person to blame at the end of the conversation. So I felt like, okay, if I write this letter, then I can get all of my points across and I can get you to see everything. And I don't have to worry about you talking over me or telling me that I'm wrong or I'm this or I'm that. And I get my point across. So you have some people, I have no filter, please. So you can curse. You can curse. You good.
I'm trying to get you on the show on Tuesday, Cardi.
And so I feel like some people really don't know how to communicate. And then you have some people who don't even realize that they have triggers. And that's another part. Some people don't realize that they have triggers. There's a lot of people running around here who don't know what their triggers are, don't know that they have triggers, think that they don't have any issues. And if you're a person who no one is running around telling you, like everybody just accepts the way that you are, then you continue to communicate the way that you've been communicating. Because people just keep saying, oh, well, that's just them. You know, just let them be.
Yeah. A lot of people will keep the same circle around them, the same circle of people around them that allow them to stay complacent in that space. And then what will happen sometimes is when you start to expose yourself to other environments and new people, you get challenged there and you either retreat back to that old group or that old area of acceptance where you're not being challenged, or you grow up and adapt in the new environment. But I noticed that folks who don't want to grow out of that, they'll stay complacent with the same people, allowing them to stay like that, where they don't have to deal with that stuff. You said something, Lady J. You said you used to write letters.
I did.
So I just want to ask, like, because I write, like I'll send long text messages, right? I think somebody said earlier, actually, I don't know who it was, if you can remember, but somebody said like they hate like, folks try to communicate through text, right? And I find myself actually like when I really want to say something, I actually will text it. And it's not because I think text is a very efficient way for communicating. I'm not going to have a whole argument with you through text, right? But I'll find myself texting out a thought. Mm-hmm. Because I know I'm going to get it all out and I'm not going to come off brash. I'm not going to come off offensive. I want to say everything and articulate in a way where I'm really expressing myself. So I will text sometimes to really get a thought out because I feel like if I speak it, we won't get there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, you think you won't get it because the person's not going to listen or?
Probably both. And sometimes when I'm really upset, I feel like it might even be my approach. I told y'all, people think I'm aggressive, and I'm a little much, right? I'm a Scorpio, right? So I come off a certain way sometimes. So for me, writing it down, either in a letter, but who really does that anymore, right? It'll be in a text or some type of writing format, allows me to articulate all the words that I can say in a way where I feel like I'm touching on that emotion that needs to be touched on.
Yeah.
And I'm articulating it clearly without me being emotional. Mm-hmm. And that's a strategy of mine, but I don't know. How we feel about that.
I'm right there with you. Cause like sometimes, I'm a little bit of a hot-headed time. So sometimes I cannot cohesively talk about something right that the moment that it's happening. Like I might need like an hour or so to cool off. But like, because I know like sometimes like I'll say something, and if I don't get the response that I want, that is a trigger at that time for me also. So I'll escalate it. And sometimes it just doesn't need to get escalated. No, not even that. Like, you know, like if I say like, why don't you do something? Why don't you do such and such? And you say because such and such, and it's not the answer that I wanted, I will get more angry. And it's like it is like that's not a good thing to do.
I will say that's not healthy. I'm gonna need you to.
Yeah, it's not. Which is why I don't do it.
But it's good that you know your trigger. You know your trigger, and so at this point, what you do is you remove yourself from the situation. And you cool down so that you don't flip no tables, okay? I ain't mad. We don't need you out here flipping.
I have, yeah, man. Like I've
put enough.
I'm a Virgo.
And Mike, what's your sign? I'm sorry, baby. What'd you say?
Oh, you're Leo. Yeah. My mom and my daughter are Leo.
And Lady J, what's your sign?
Guess. I always tell people to guess. I always wonder what you're going to say. Yeah.
I don't know. You like either a Sag, a Cancer, a Aries, or a Libra.
I'm a Taurus.
I fuck that all up.
Listen, I'm a Taurus, and I tell people.
Actually, I should have known that. Now that you said that.
No, you know what? But people think I'm a Virgo most times, and so I tell people I'm a Torgo because I have Virgo and Taurus Timothy. So I done made something up. I'm a Torgo.
You said she Aquarius.
No, so
sorry,
no.
I took us off, but I was just curious.
No,
you're
good.
I'm gonna go evaluate y'all communication styles.
You know what though?
My bad.
A lot of people. So I'm real big on the whole. Well, I'm not real big on the whole sign thing because I feel like even though you have bits of your sign, like I think that I'm like bits of my sign, and people are. I think there are certain things that are in your sign, like people are like Taurus are bullheaded. I don't feel like I'm bullheaded. So I think there are things you can work on so that you're not parts of your sign. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Actually, if you get your birth chart written, like you actually have multiple signs within your chart. So when the time of birth, there's multiple planets and alignments. That's a whole bunch of stuff happening within us, which is why you hit on the nose. You have several zodiacs within your chart. You just got to get your birth chart read and analyze. And that whole like, you ever read something about your zodiac? Like, that's not me. It's probably because in a certain placement, you might have some other personality traits, but the evolution of you is holistically is more than likely what your sun sign is. But there's more to it.
It's like the sun sign, the moon sign. You got your love sign.
Oh, it's so much on there. I didn't expect that so much.
We need a whole show dedicated to that. It's a lot.
We might have one.
Coming soon. We're gonna pick it up.
Zodiac time.
Right.
I write birth charts on the side, y'all, so I'm for hire. No.
Shameless plug. Y'all know where to go now.
Y'all know what to do.
Crystal got you. Always do the wrong way. Crystal got you. You need it. Y'all, she done already told y'all where to find her on.
Need some therapy with your relationships and need to know how to communicate a little bit better.
Listen, right? So if everybody feels like they've gotten their spiel about communication relationships, does anybody else got anything else they want to say about communication and relationships and things of that nature? No, we good?
It can go far, so I'm good.
You sure?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not.
You had something tucked away you was about to share.
It's a long conversation.
Oh, okay.
Not to me personally. I'm just saying I could pull another thing up and then it start a whole other conversation. So yeah, there's so many ways you communicate. Communication is endless. So.
Oh, thanks.
Chris November, what's your sign?
I can tell y'all a story. Oh my goodness gracious! All right, so our next topic is holding on to toxic relationships.
I got you. This is a good conversation.
Oh man,
yeah.
So what do y'all think about that? Like holding on to a relationship that's toxic. Like say you're out of a relationship, right? But you keep trying to go back to it, but it's toxic. Like what is y'all's views on that?
It is obviously like the easy answer is like, oh, if you know that the relationship is toxic, stay away from it. But
sometimes don't know.
True. But honestly, like I feel like us as people are kind of almost like pulled to the toxicness because that's what like kind of like you remember those more than some of the good times. You know what I'm saying? So like since it's so heavily in your brain. It just becomes more familiar to you, if that makes any sense. And it's kind of like you got to break yourself out of the cycle of it.
No, it does. And that's where what you said is comfortable to you. That's where the topic for me came up is that when you're in relationships, right, with somebody, you get very comfortable in relationship with people, right? You get comfortable with the way they are, with the way things are. So sometimes things can be toxic, right? And there's many levels to being toxic, right? Like it can just go so far along the spectrum of what toxic is. And so it's so easy to go back when you have those moments where you're alone or when you're going through something and be like, you know what? But if I just call or I just like text, I'll just text real quick and I'm gonna just, hey, how you been? How's work? You know what I'm saying? Like you thinking like, okay, I'm just gonna say, hey. knowing that that's not what you need to do, but it's comfortable because that's what you know. That's what you've known for so long. And for me, like a person like me who's been in a relationship for such a long time, even though I didn't realize how toxic it was until the end, there's days where it's like, okay, well, if you just send like a text, because like, what, had a bad dream, and you get it when I have a bad dream. So, I know you'll know what to say. So it's easy to be like, hey, I couldn't sleep, what are you doing? So I'm curious, like, what do y'all think about that just that whole dynamic of being in toxic relationships and going back for that comforting feeling? Like, I know that we should know it's wrong, but sometimes we don't. And sometimes it's just so much easier to go back to that comfort.
Yeah.
You got something, Mike? Because I'm about to dive in on this one.
This is a big one like that. Yeah.
You got something?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Toxic people. Chris pulled this up. You got it, Otis. You got it. That is one of the major factors of the toxic situations.
Yes.
The major factor.
Like a whole fact.
A lot of the times, if somebody is great at something, they will physically pull you in, and then they can mentally control you without you realizing that's a mental control. It is a narcissistic world. That's pretty much all it is. It is when y'all both can be the same thing. This is necessarily not just one side of the fence. Y'all both can be the same thing because what I mean. The only toxic situation I ever had was at the end of my, relationship with my child's mother. That was bad. What I mean? It was bad for a while, but it was bad. And it was like when you really sit back and look at it, I'm like, shit, that's the only toxic relationship I've ever actually had. That was the only one, and that was 8 years ago to this day. So it's like it's been a long time since I've dealt with toxic situations. Of course. Yeah. So, if you starve, pull that up for me.
Mike is distracted by these comments because a lot of us out here in some toxic relationships. If you starve me, a McChicken would be.
Oh, Lord.
Wait.
There's a point.
That's a fact.
Starve me.
No, there's points behind what he said.
So if I'm hungry long enough, a McChicken is good.
No. But it's like that's sort of the situation when it comes to that is just that you toxic because you refuse to let the things you refuse to let certain things go, and then you think you can control somebody. That's one of the biggest factors is like once you feel like you had sex with this is a trait, period. Once you feel like you've had sex with somebody, you feel like they belong to you. A lot of people do that. This is strictly men can think like this. If they have sex with you, they feel like they own you. They feel like they own you. Ain't so I'm gonna just give you a scenario. I want to do something real quick, right? We dating or like we together, whatever. We've done, our thing, whatever the case is, right? The whole you talking to you? Oh, who that? Your other boo? Oh man, you talking to another guy over there? Something like that. Yeah, those things start coming up. The insecurities kick in and stuff like that. Now I'll mess around with that just to play, but I'm never serious about it because I'm not in fear of somebody else. But those little things start happening. Those little tiny things start kicking in. Then it gets to the point where like when you're out, what you wear? Why are you wearing that? Why you? And it's like literally worrying about the things that you wear, but wasn't worrying about it back when y'all first started. So it was like. That's the little things that now start becoming a certain way when people want to control your life. And
I had to take a sip on this conversation because I've been in some toxic a very toxic relationship. And once you go into one, a real one or a real intense one, I feel like you'll never go back. And I don't necessarily think that the sex is good with toxic people. I think that type of chemistry that you have with an individual, and maybe like if you have that type of chemistry, that type of sex drive, that connection with somebody, and it happens to get to a point where y'all need to break, those type of relationships are the hardest ones to get rid of because you have that level of chemistry. And then that's where the toxic shit starts because y'all might have met a point where it's like time to say goodbye, but when the sex is that good, like I ain't letting it go. So now the toxic stuff about to start, right? Because we out here doing toxic things. We need to leave each other alone, but we're not. And I will say, Lady J, this isn't the same as me telling you that the shirt you got on look like. Don't be mad at me, but the most toxic relationship I ever had from a friend and from a man was with a Taurus. Like, it was so intense. It was so intense. It was so intense. But I'll say that, like, actually that's a kind of a good thing. Like, intensity from that personality type, and there's tons of it there, fun, excitement. But for me personally, it was a clash, and I went through some things. But look, back to the point. The question was, like, should we get out of them, right? Though, should we stay in them?
Well, I mean, I definitely think we should get out of them.
Side plays with me. Ooh.
Because, okay, listen, I'm going to let y'all talk about the branch of Taurus. I'm going to just say I'm kind of like out the box Taurus. So I'm not going to be offended. Don't worry, I'm not offended. It's okay. I'm a Torgo anyways. It doesn't matter.
A Torgo?
I'm generalizing anyway. Like I said,
like a Virgo and Taurus mix?
Yes, it don't matter. I'm a Torgo, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yo, that's funny. A Torgo.
But no, I think it's important for us to know that a lot of times, like we probably met somebody, chemistry is through the roof, but it doesn't mean that we meant to be with them forever for whatever reason. And when that happens, like, we're not mature enough to let it go, and that's when all that stuff starts to happen, in my personal opinion. But
no,
yeah,
no, you're right, because when you do have like crazy chemistry with somebody, like when that chemistry is so strong, then you start acting crazy, they start acting crazy. Like, you said you was calling it 9. What happened?
No, I remember fighting my Taurus. Like, we were in a whole fight. We were like in a whole fight. Like, and then was like straight like having sex like an hour later. Like, it was crazy.
Yep.
It was crazy.
Yep. You know what's
crazy,
Crystal? That was, you know how easy it was for you to go right to that. It's always something that keeps you in it. Like, it's always something. There's more, but it's like there's always something that keeps you in it. That's my lady, y'all, right there. So,
lady.
Yeah. She better say hi back, because her ass is mean. Anyway, no, you're not mean. I don't feel like it. But
I like her. She likes Taurus. I like her a lot.
If you was a type, it's probably codependency, not chemistry. Yeah, no, Mark.
Yeah,
listen.
That's a fact.
So this is my cousin Marcus. We're gonna call him Barcus, but that's my cousin. He knows a lot of the things that I've been through in my life.
Is he a blood?
He's never really had situation like his ass is. He know. So his ass he know how to dodge them well. I'm like, yo, you good at what you do. Now he got the whole game figured out, and he's living his life and having fun doing it. So
Now, see, I've not been in a toxic relationship due to sex, though. It's
Me neither. I just couldn't get out of it because of sex. We got to make that very clear.
So, now that you said that, Crystal, guess what?
I ain't been that blessed in life. I apologize.
It didn't start that way. It was actually a very beautiful.
It's where it finished. If he out there, I'm sorry, but if a man is out there giving you all the greatest type of sex he can possibly give you, he doing everything possible, that can be a factor that can bring you back. Not saying that there isn't someone else that can do it.
I had to go back
somebody else that can do it.
I had to go back and think.
But
I did find one. I found one. I had to think.
I had to think.
So Craig has a question. Let's see.
It can. Yeah. Yes, it can. Because at the end of the day, nobody's forcing you to be in that. You are down. That's a choice. Anything that you're doing is a choice. I mean, it is. It can be heavily motivated.
What was the question?
He said, "Does staying in a toxic relationship make you toxic by default?" Yes, and I'm gonna go in detail and explain why. Because you start learning things within in that relationship. You don't leave fast enough. You can start carrying that on to someone else, and then you start becoming the toxic person. You start hating people because of what happened to you in your past. Now, it's not saying that it isn't a healing stage and everything. You should always heal. My number one advice: do not jump back into something else. Do not jump back into something else after you finish something really bad. If you dealt with abuse, if you dealt with things that have happened to you, not even just abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse, physical
emotional
abuse, spiritual abuse, any type of abuse you experience within a relationship, you have to heal from that. There's stages to how you heal from these abusive type situations. You have to sit on your ass and don't listen. You don't need another partner in your life to be happy. You have to make you happy first. If you do not make you happy first, you will become that toxic person that he just asked that question to.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Quick. I just want to enter.
I want to go after you.
Happiness key. People have this tendency to think that people make them happy. A person can't make you happy. You can be happy
you
with
gotta
a
make
person,
you happy.
but you have to make you happy, because what happens when that person does something you don't like? As soon as they do something you don't like, now they're not happy with you. Now, you know what? I can't stand you no more. I don't want to be with you. You this, you that. Woo-woo. No, a person doesn't make you happy. You can have happiness with a person, but you got to be the person that makes yourself happy. Like, you got to find happiness within yourself. And I think that's where a lot of people are messed up and confused. And that's why a lot of people end up in these toxic relationships too, and bad communication. Because you're so dependent upon somebody else to make you happy. And that's not how it works. That's just not how it works. So I just wanted to touch on that. You go ahead, sorry.
I will say this, Otis, being that I'm going right into you, Otis. I'm the Chris Paul. That's all I can do is just give you the ball. You gotta lay that bitch up.
That's a fact.
Listen, here you go. Go ahead, get happy real quick. I got you, but lay that ball up.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you, Barkus, and I gotta. Are you a blood? Like, why is it Barkus and not a like?
No. He's not. Hey, you crippin' blood? No,
no, but I can't. I gotta agree with Marcus though. Like, I don't think it makes you automatically toxic, because like there are some high level toxic people out here that will twist and manipulate your emotions on a different level the more that they know you, to keep you in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've like, you think it's like people use that, oh, you leave me, I'll kill myself. People use that all the time.
Yes.
Like, I've been hit with that, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, but
is he doing everything sexual? What'd she say? I'm sorry, I didn't even read it.
That was a good one. She's saying, like, is the trauma bonds from sex like really just tricking you? And I think that's what's important. Kind of what I wanted to touch on. It's not that these people are just like great at sex, but of course the connection is there, right? For the sex to have ever been good. So you definitely have like some intensity there with that particular person, right? But what she touched on, and I forget who that was, but the trauma bond kind of tricking you. This is why I think people who stay in toxic relationships are toxic. A toxic person isn't just a toxic person. Toxic person is someone that has going through things, right? They probably haven't dealt with their emotions the proper way. They probably don't really know how to communicate the proper way. They probably don't know how to deal with what's happening with them, and then they're acting out, and it's showing up in their relationships, right? Well, a person who stays with a toxic person probably still have those same traits, right? Because, and those same, maybe not the same traumas, but they have different things going on where they've had traumatic experiences that have allowed them to get attached to someone that is doing toxic things. So we're both toxic. We're both affected by our traumas. And to the young lady's comment, heck yeah, that trauma bond is playing tricks on you. And that's why what Mike Hennessy said, when you said the importance of this is leaving and staying single for a very long time, is because you have to heal from that toxic relationship. But the fact that you even got in it, you probably had some shit you was healing from the beginning.
Yep. Usually, you ever notice them toxic relationships be your earlier relationships, your first real relationship.
You dealing with narcissistic parents and bullies in school. Like, who knows what you had going on, right? Like, and then you got in that. Like, it's a wrap. It's a whole other episode for this, but I've been through it, man. Like,
we definitely gotta get to that one. He just asked.
Got to a really early toxic relationship. Go ahead.
Real quick before we do touch that, I think that when you begin to realize you're dealing with someone that is toxic and you're in a toxic relationship, when you decide to stay, then I believe, yes, then you become toxic as well.
Yeah.
When you don't realize that you're in something that's toxic, then it's like, okay, you're becoming toxic by nature because you're picking up traits. But I mean, like, when you know for a fact that I'm in a relationship that is toxic, this is not healthy for me, this is bad, then yes, when you choose to willingly stand that, then yes, 100%, I believe you are toxic.
With you, right?
So, yes, but I definitely do want to touch on that question.
I got it.
You got it?
You can read
I
it,
thought you were going to
That's
answer
your
it.
show.
Okay.
That's your
Any
show.
advice
Crystal can read it.
on how to safely leave an abusive relationship if you feel like your life is at risk?
I've been abused, so I can definitely take that one.
Go ahead.
I was in an abusive relationship for 5 years that started like a fairy tale. And what's interesting is I like what you just said, Lady J, because sometimes you don't know you're leading there, you don't know you're in that. And when it was a fairy tale for me, I didn't know I was in it. And then when the abuse started, it was kind of like instant. And the love bombing along with the abuse would happen, and me having my own issues that I hadn't dealt with, didn't even know I had issues, right? I didn't know I had mommy, daddy issues, right? I didn't know I was processing things, and I didn't know I was attached to this person because of those issues that I didn't even know I had to deal with, right? But this person created a trauma bond with me, and then the abuse started 3 years in. That's the wild part. And the advice that I would give to anybody, I'm no like trained therapist or anything like that. I'm just someone that has experienced it. The advice that I would give is do not keep it quiet. I'm sure there's other things to say, right? But it's going to be a process regardless if you are attached. Oh Lord, it's going to be other things.
What the hell, Chris?
That response was crazy. I didn't do that. But
that's Chris being funny.
What kept me lingering in this relationship was I kept it quiet. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell my family. I didn't want my brother to get involved. I knew he would do something, and I was embarrassed. And I blamed myself for being in this situation with someone that I knew I was, at the time, like I was more than likely probably better than, right? I was so embarrassed that I didn't speak up and just say, this is what I'm going through. Even if it wasn't like, oh, yo, he beating me. I just wasn't talking about the fact that it was a bad relationship. I was so quiet, and being quiet allowed that person to kind of get me in this place where I felt like that's all I had. I felt like he was all I had. So long story short, that made it harder for me to leave. Eventually I did leave. So I would recommend that to keep from lingering, be open about your bad relationship, even if you don't want to admit that, it's toxic or it's abusive. Be open about the small things and get people in there so that you're not secluding yourself or being alone in this relationship. Does that make sense?
I think that you have to be careful with that though. So literally on my live, I actually have a young lady who is in a abusive relationship, and she comes on very often, and she's scared to leave. And you have to be careful with the people that you surround yourself with, I think, though. And I think, Crystal, you might agree, because a lot of times you go to people and you tell them, right, when you finally get the courage to tell people what you're going through. And, it's hard when you're, like you said, you were in it. And so it's like you didn't even realize. So it's like you felt like that's the only thing that you had. So a lot of times you tell people who are in these relationships, hey, this is a bad relationship. Like, this is not healthy for you. Like, one day you might not be able to get out of it.
Yeah.
What can happen sometimes is they feel pressured, and they feel like, now you're judging me, and now you're doing this, and now you're doing that. And then they back up and they tell you, oh no, this person is so great, but you don't understand, but they really love me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to be really careful with the people that you decide to. I definitely think I agree. Speak on it. Tell somebody. Find a way to get out of it. But the thing about it is, know who you're talking to so that you don't feel pressured, you don't feel judged, because then that only makes you stay in it longer. I don't know what advice to give you as far as how to get out of it safely and not risk your life, other than going to the popos and getting a restraining order. That would be my suggestion. That would definitely be my suggestion, to get a restraining order if you can, and to get as in the safest place that you possibly can. That would be my suggestion. I always tell people, I ain't no therapist, I ain't no expert. I can just go from my opinions and my experiences. But I know that is a very tough place to be in. Not necessarily because I've physically been in a physically abusive relationship, but I have dealt with somebody who is going through it, and she feels pressured a lot of times when people come at her and tell her, oh, you should leave, you have to leave, call the cops.
You know what it is? People who haven't been in the situation, if I was telling the story before I was in that situation, I'd be like,
pull it back up, Otis.
I wasn't close.
Y'all want to read that one?
No, go ahead, Crystal, because you're explaining this. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just hold that one up if you need to. But if I was me talking to somebody else before my experience, I'd probably be like, "What, girl? Please, you better. You know, we get the you betters, IBD, right?" And what's so interesting is when I got it, like I said, I got into it, and you don't even know it's happening, and you never expect it to be you. So I will say that to the people who are experiencing that, if there's anybody that does listen to this, if you're getting the you betters, you know what I mean? Like, to your point, Lady J, you got to be careful about who you're talking to, who might not really understand. And that's why I say, start small. You don't even have to be out there telling the world like the severity of it, but never allow yourself to only rely on that person.
Right.
Because that psychologically, right? I'm talking like abuse is a psychological thing, right?
Yeah.
That's why the people who say I would never don't understand it. Like, of course, logically, get a gun, call the cops, right? But abuse is a psychological thing. And in order for you to break free of that psychological hold that someone might have on you, you really have to expose yourself more and get out of the space where all you have is that person. Even if you just got a friend and you just talking trash to and get your nails done, you know what I'm saying? Like, or if you do go to therapy, and I'm not going to go spend too much time on this one, but I didn't know this when I was a young child, but I wish I did. Therapy is a beautiful thing, right? It's a beautiful thing. But whatever it is, find a way to where you don't only have that person, and be careful about who you're exposing that to, because a lot of people don't understand. They'll start making you feel like, girl, what? Like, yeah, you know what?
People realize they don't need that. You don't need to hear that. You don't need to hear the girl. I wouldn't do that if I was you. I don't know how you deal with that. They don't need that. They need someone to listen and help them and comfort them. So I hope that I don't know if anybody's really in that situation, but I hope that you have heard something that was helpful to you this evening.
And leaving is a beautiful thing. Let me tell you, I was telling you that last week, Mike Hennessy, and I'm sorry, Lelouch, I'll be off of this one. This is the one that touched my heart a little bit. But I was telling y'all last week, like, being single, people be looking at me like I'm crazy. I've been single for 5 years, happily. And when I say single, no booty calls, like no, it's complicated. Because some people be single, but you got a whole lot of you're not really single. You're not really single with yourself. Getting free of toxic relationships and getting free of abuse and things like that is the most beautiful experience ever. Especially if you really free yourself and you work on yourself, you give yourself the time to heal. Man, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. So I recommend it.
Amazing.
But what I'm saying is one big red flag that people have to notice when you to see if you are in a toxic relationship is if your partner is trying to isolate you. If they are constantly having problems about you seeing your friends, seeing your family, going out to places they want you, right? Like if you are being isolated, like that is a huge red flag. If they're intentionally isolating you, or not even directly, like being passive aggressive about every time you go, like that is a microaggression, and that is a time where you should start considering talking to someone and trying to get out of that situation, because it can get dangerous. Like I've seen people not survive situations like that because they stayed it too long, and it can get
isolation.
Bad, so,
you hit on the nose.
No,
yeah,
because I think that's how it starts. I think that's how it starts. Like you said, for 3 years you were in a relationship, and it didn't start until 3 years, and it's like those tidbits that trickle in, and it's like, oh, why are you going to your family?
All I had when it happened to me. Everybody else, my mama, my daddy, I need to leave everybody alone because they know that he protected me. You know what I mean? Like he got me away from all those bad things that I was going through, right? Oof.
Oh, you're welcome. You are absolutely welcome. I believe in being transparent. I think that when you're transparent and you share, even though sometimes it's hard because, those are past traumas and hurt that we've been through, right? And it's not easy to get through. I feel like transparency helps other people to heal. Yeah. I feel like when people can relate to you and they can understand that, hey, I'm not the only person who's been through this. You know what? There's other people out here who have dealt with something similar to what I've dealt with, or they're going through or have gone through something I've gone through. I feel like that just helps. You know what I'm saying? Like when you sit up here and I'm like, oh, no, I've never been through anything. No, I can't possibly. But I can tell you how to get out of it, though. I can tell you exactly how to get out of it. You can't connect with me like that. You can't. So I feel like vulnerability and transparency is key.
Yes.
Can't afford going to therapy.
Read that out loud.
A lot of minorities can't afford or willing to go to therapy, but y'all platform creates a safe understanding outlet. Oh,
that's really nice.
That's what's up, man.
That's really nice.
That's what's up. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Listen, shout out to the team of Blurred Proof Entertainment. You know, we try to make some good things happen. We working at the look at her.
I was about to say, Lady J, you haven't done that all night.
Yeah, she
bring it around.
She got to find it now.
I know.
So we can
sorry.
I can't put my arms up tonight because my shirt.
She can't put her arms up.
I can't put my arms up. Might get approved.
She got ladies. Her ladies is out somewhere. So, you know.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Listen, shout out.
Appreciate you sharing that.
Shout out to Lady J and Crystal Dominique. This is their show. We're just on there. We're just visiting, but they definitely created. Me and Lady J talked about it because we definitely try to get those deep conversations. Yeah. She finds a way to try to pull it out of me. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. All right, cool. Let's go. All right, I'm gonna add this to it too. Like it's fun. So
see, he be adding stuff to it. See, he be trying to back out. I mean, I'll bring him in every time.
Just bring him right back in. So I don't know if we're going to segue into something, but I will say this, and Otis probably understands the most because his name means exactly what I'm about to say. Hold on, go ahead. You can read that, Lady J. Everything that pops up, that's for you.
Yes, Greg, I wish we could normalize having healing sessions with friends to explore different therapeutic sessions, or therapeutic session, getting into some of the therapy while things are good. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, and that writing is real small. Somebody read that for me.
Yes, Craig. I wish we could normalize having healing sessions with friends to explore different therapeutic sessions, getting into some form of therapy while things are good. That came from Sadiqa Quad Love.
Sadiqa
Love. Oh, Sadiq. Sorry, I'm sorry, Sadiqa Love.
No,
it's
that's a clip right there, yo.
I think that's true. We do need to be able to normalize that, being able to sit and talk to people. Because everybody can't afford therapy.
That podcast is coming soon. Probably like another 2 weeks or so. You'll see it. That's okay. Yeah,
Which one?
What'd you say?
Oh yeah, for the podcast explaining what Sadiq was saying. Yeah, that's coming soon. We got that. It's vertical entertainment. It's coming.
We're gonna hit that too. Yes. Yeah. No. I definitely agree. So we have one last topic, and our time is getting ready to come to an end. I believe.
Real quick. I wanted to add something to it. Real quick before we move on.
Go.
I do want to throw this in there because y'all got a whole 32 minutes left. We got plenty of time. So,
well, we're getting long-winded up in here. So I was just saying,
it's not as long.
No, I'm just kidding.
This one is more deeper because it's dealing with the mental health. So we really in that field. Yeah. But I wanted to say this as far as me and Lelouch. What makes for people like us that are nerds and gamers and geeks and everything like that, because this is a nerd page, it's a blurred page for Black nerds. Everybody understands that. But a lot of us, when you go through certain things, you start finding things to help you heal. One of the things, it definitely was the cat's ass.
I saw the ass.
I'm sorry.
Most people who are in here can tell you that we have anime characters that has helped us through a lot of things. I have watched animes, I have felt animes that has literally put me in an emotional state of crying.
Did you say fuck?
No. They helped us deal with our situations in life. You know what I mean? Like, so we relate to a lot of stuff, or we grasp that character because, it's like you can feel the love out of that character. Like, you probably know who this is. Y'all both probably know this is Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I have watched an episode of Dragon Ball Z, or GT, whatever it is, the ending of it where they show a combination of everything I watched as a child growing up. And they did like a whole background of him, in his lifetime. And he got to look at it and be happy. It was crazy that happened because that's a wish of mine in death. I would love to relive my life over again. I would love to sit and look at it over again and just smile and be happy about even the bad things that I've done and learned and see that I've grown from them and see that I did things different. What I'm speaking from now is not what I can speak from years and years from now when it's that time. But I'm just saying, like, that's something that gave me a level of emotion that helped me out through a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes people scared to go to that zone of getting that emotion because they think if they sit in that zone too much, they're a bitch, or they're not being strong enough, or whatever the case is. Like, I dealt with chronic anxiety for a long time, and I didn't know that I was dealing with it. And I found out I was dealing with it a certain way. Like, it can get triggered a certain way, but I got to calm myself. It has to be talked about. It has to be certain things because it shows up. And I remember expressing that one day, and somebody close to my child and her family told me, you don't deserve to be her father because you're weak. Literally said that.
Yeah.
She don't need men like this. She needs strong men that's leaders. And I'm like, because I had a moment of telling what was going on with me. You know what I mean? Like, and that was one of the worst things and that's why, I had to, but then even in that moment, I had choices. Do you snap out? Do you do this? Do you do that? Or do you become smarter about the situation? I didn't want to prove nobody right. I didn't want to prove nobody wrong. I just really wanted to show, okay, you think that's what it is. The strength came out of me even admitting to what I was doing to the world. And I know a lot of people, it's not looked up. I don't usually do that. That's spam right there, yo. I don't usually do that.
What does that mean?
That's spam. But a lot of people will be scared to do something like that. I wasn't scared to do that. And especially doing it on Facebook where people will be like, well, don't put your business in. Listen, I created a Facebook for people to be in my business when I'm ready for them to be in my business. So I was ready for people to be in my business.
I need to write that down. That's a meme. Hold on.
That is. I'm making that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I gave people that space to at least know that. It ain't like every day of the week I'm giving you something about me. Like, yo, I clipped my toenails. I don't need to do that. That's too much. Like, I just gave you something. I let y'all know a little bit about me. Time to move on now to the next phase of my life. I admitted to it. I left it where it was at. I create music on purpose I have music that I feel like have made for situations like that. And I had to keep the shit going. So that's why I say, like, and Otis can attest to it because his character is based off of a lot of, like you said, a lot of how he feel about himself. So some people have things that they do that be like even when you get in these bad spaces, you ever get into this bad space and you're sitting there like, damn, and then you start thinking about how to make yourself feel good. I'll run into Goku. I'm gonna watch Dragon Ball Z because I need to get hyped.
Yo, Mike, I think you took us there. I know you were about to pivot us, Lady J.
No, you got it.
I think you took us there to say, like, I mentioned therapy earlier, and I know we're on this big therapy like movement, and I support it. But the point is, therapy is just a way to help guide and assist you to this stuff, right?
Yep,
like, there's so many ways that if you want to be better, if you want to be healed, right? Like for me, I have one of my close friends. Whenever I'm like having a bad day and I'm like calling her and I'm like real down and out, she's like, "Girl, if you don't go for a run, we figured this out in our friendship. When I'm working out and I'm doing my, at least 3 to 4 days a week, and I go do some cardio and I do my run on Saturday morning after work. It doesn't matter what's bothering me. I'm a whole different person. And then sometimes I'm talking to her and she'll be like, "Did you run this week? Did you do some cardio or some HIIT? Because when you do that, you're different." What I'm getting at is, like, we cannot be victims of the stuff that we go through. I know it's hard, right? But there are things, you mentioned Dragon Ball Z, right? You find some healing in watching that experience, right? That's what I got from what you just said. And that was so deep because we have to really lean in on the things that make us feel better and sulk in those moments or feel better about life in those moments. But we cannot be victims of whatever it is that got us feeling this way. I like that, Mike. I appreciate that.
No problem at all. No problem
I agree. When I first started my healing journey, I used to walk. Like 2 miles a day. I was working on my mind, my body, my soul, my spirituality, everything. I was like, I'm going to be fit and fine at 40, okay? She's doing it, okay? And I used to walk in green trees. And I didn't realize that the green was calming me. I used to get so agitated and so frustrated. And I would get so, like, when I was in these crazy moments, and I'd be like, I'm going for a walk. Like, I would just leave the house. I'm like, I'll be back. Tears pouring down my eyes. I'll be back, y'all. And I would go and I would walk, and that green would just clear my mind. So I think what Mike said, what Crystal said is absolutely true. It doesn't necessarily have to be anime. It doesn't have to be running. It doesn't have to be walking. Huh?
Yeah. No, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Liv Satterfield just said, just be mindful of the things that make you feel good. Facts. Alcohol makes me feel good. Listen, it makes me feel good too. But it doesn't heal. If you're not adding nothing else, I'm not hating nobody who drank. That's fine, because I do too. It's Friday night, y'all. I love me a nice glass of wine after a long week, right? But if something's really troubling me, I just can't rely on that. But anyway, I like that.
No, definitely want to go to the positive self-healing.
Yeah,
not the
not self-medicating.
Keep going, because what you were saying was definitely key. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying.
I think, because a lot of times that's what people think. They think like, oh, you're trying to push off on me what you do. No, you find what it is for you. For him, it's anime. For Crystal, it's running. For me, it's going out. Like, I could take a drive and I'm in an area full of green trees, and it literally calms me down immediately. Yeah. So whatever it is that gets you to that space, you have to find it. To me, that's self-care. So we all have to have some kind of self-care regimen. And I think that's what a lot of people miss, is that you don't necessarily have to have therapy. Fun fact, I have a therapist, okay? I go see her when I get overwhelmed. It's not all the time, but I do. I'm not against it. But sometimes I can't go to her for stuff. Sometimes I just need to figure it out on my own. So I feel like you have to have that form of self-care that helps you to get through and deal with it. Because like Crystal said, you can't just hold on to it. Because when you just hold on to it and you let it sit, it just festers. It just festers.
Toxic relationships, no communication, gaining weight. Like it shows, it manifests in a lot of ways in our life.
It really does. It does. And so I definitely agree with both you and Mike. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try and say your name because I messed it up. You got anything on that self-care aspect?
On self-care specifically, I mean, it's really
finding that thing for you.
It was like, it's about knowing yourself. That's the big thing. Like, you have to know yourself to find out what brings you happiness, what makes you feel safe and secure. Once you know yourself to that point, you can just kind of put yourself through regimens to kind of get you back to where you need to be. It just gets easier. You can work it into doing other things, like, oh, I gotta work, but I gotta do these self-care things for myself first, and then I can go back to working at full capacity. You know what I'm saying? Like, just making sure you not only take time to do all the things that you have to do in your day for everyone else, making sure you take care of yourself too, and that's just a big thing on it.
And I think we should definitely, this is just my idea, and, usually stuff that I think of, it kind of happens. That's the good part about it. But I would love to create something within this group that creates a safe haven for people to be able to talk. We should build a group where, and I get you need therapists, you need stuff, but that's great. Have the therapist. You should have the therapist if that's what you do. But let's build a master team that this team is here for everything that you need. We're here to talk. We're here to do all that shit. Like, nothing. And then on top of that, this can be your haven, because I feel like a haven is personal, but it also can be a massive group of people that can be there for when you need them, like the group. And it could be something that can be requested and everything like that. You know what I mean? Like, that definitely should be something.
I think that's awesome. And I think it's awesome to have a group, because not everyone is a good fit for someone else.
Yeah.
So something I might have to say might not hit with somebody else. It might be Crystal. It might be Mike. It might be Lalouche.
You got it.
She was practicing that.
No, you know what I'm saying? So when you have that group, that cluster of people with their different views, experiences, ideas, and different things like that, then you have this safe haven of different people that you can go to, so that you can get what you need. As opposed to you come talk to me and be like, I ain't like talking to her. That didn't feel right. I ain't like that. Okay, I'm leaving. You know what I'm saying? So I'm down. I don't know about y'all.
It's on the way. Like I said, like the podcast is coming soon. Y'all gonna see. I got a big shout out to Liv for that too, for the connect. But we got some.
We definitely should try to get one of y'all on there, like get y'all on there to talk.
One of the things that Mike kind of like I don't know, he kind of just curved on right quick that is worth a different conversation, different time, longer, more extended, is how men aren't allowed to be vulnerable. And personally, I think that's a very important conversation to have. We don't have to have it right now, but I would love to kind of touch on that one day, because I feel like men need a safe haven and a place where they where they feel and understood that it's okay to have emotions and feelings. Because what you said earlier, I know it was about 10, 15 minutes ago, stuck with me. The traumas that men have when it comes to not being able to express their emotions has actually manifested in ways where more women are experiencing trauma because our men are not being healed. So I think that's a very important place to touch on.
Good idea, Chris. Oh, we got another spam. Them Jones be flying in, don't they? I ain't giving it no time of the day.
It's because we
No,
wasn't.
I definitely agree. I think that's a good topic to hit on. I do. I think that is definitely a good topic to hit on because I literally
write that down, Kristen.
Yeah, please.
Write that down.
I was having a conversation with someone, literally, who a gentleman who was going through some things, and a lot of times they feel like it's not okay to talk about it, and it's not okay to discuss, and it's like, oh, I'm okay, I'll be fine, it's fine, it'll blow over. I think women and men both deal with it, but I think that men deal with it a little bit harder than women do. And so I think that's definitely worth a longer discussion.
What's going on, Greg? It's my guy right there.
I definitely.
We got some new family in the group, and we definitely happy to have them in there. Like, I feel like we need to have a really big ass
virtual party,
like, and bring all the people involved in it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and just have everybody meet up with each other. So
I'll bring the wine.
I know you will. I know you will.
I'm just gonna bring my cup.
You can do it next week if you want. Next weekend.
Hey, that's fine with me. That's look, listen, it's the end of the month next weekend, so we definitely do something. So, but I would
Ooh. What? You probably a whole new show, Liv.
Yeah, Liv went. She went and pulled out the the curveball.
I'm ready. We always ready. Do the I'm ready dance, Lady J. What's the I'm ready? Lady J ready. I can't do it because I can't.
I'm ready.
Okay,
we always ready.
The hips. Bring it around town.
Never afraid. I'm never scared. I love these type of conversations.
All right, so Liv, you obviously ready to come on a podcast? So
yeah. Just let us know when you're ready.
Right. We can transition whenever you're ready.
Oh, so the last one is this was actually Mike's pick. I want to say. So
just for fun, y'all.
Yeah, just for fun. So now we want to talk about building your perfect partner. Now I know everybody gets real weirded out like that. What you mean? You trying to build somebody? This not like that.
It's not what you're thinking exactly.
Breathe. Woosah, okay? Woosah. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about like build a man and build a woman. We're not talking about that. We're talking about like if you had the option to pick like what your ideal things in a partner would be.
Yes. That makes sense.
What would that look like? Like your ideal, the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with that like just like makes you like your goo boil, all of that. I don't know. I can't even explain it. Make your tummy tickle and all of that. What would that look like? Crystal, go. I'm ready. Look, she excited. She ready. You first. Go ahead, girl.
All these good things. I was just getting excited. My vagina was getting moist just listening to it. Like, oh man. Wait, can I come back? Okay, no, I'll go now. Okay. So if I can mold or make the perfect guy, right? That's
it's really just a personality. It's just
like if you could pick like personality traits that would really make and fit you, like your perfect puzzle piece that you are. Yes. Like, what would that look like?
Someone who communicates
through
trauma. Because a lot, sorry for the explanation, but a lot of folks know how to be good when it's good, but don't know how to be good when it's bad. And I want somebody who knows how to be good when it's bad and when it's hard and when it's difficult, because that's what's going to actually get us through it, right? So someone that can communicate through trauma triggers, right? We talked about that. And someone that wants to work it out when it's difficult, right? So I don't know what characteristic trait that is, but also a very enterprising mind. Hopefully we could talk about this one day, but I have a serious interest in everything that's going on in the finance world and what we're doing with how we're moving into this virtual space with cryptocurrencies and investments. And I do my own personal studies and dabbling into that. So a man who's enterprising and definitely has a different outlook on how he wants to spend his money, invest his money. To be honest, you can buy me some land before you buy me a ring any day. So a romantic guy. So I like a guy who's business minded. I like a guy who can communicate, right? But like all that sounds good, but you also have to know how to, you know, come back to me and be a little bit romantic, cater to, you know, the feminine in me. And even though we're working, making money, you know what I'm saying? Like I really would love the perfect guy to have a little bit of sincerity. So I'll leave it at that.
Y'all take notes out there. Take notes. Just in case she decided to come off that 5-year hiatus.
Hey, look, Otis, I know we ain't do it all day. This how she trying to be in somebody's eyes, just staring at him like this. Like, hey, damn, daddy, you did your thing.
Yo, we've been so deep in the conversation, we have not used any gift signing.
Sorry,
it was a deep combo.
Wait, can I show y'all a magic trick, though? Can I show y'all a magic trick?
The perfect villain. Why you gotta be a villain?
No, that was me. I didn't do that.
All right, who's up next?
Real quick. No, I want to do a magic trick.
We're going to see.
Real quick. One
Say
second.
you're going to do something real quick. Exactly.
Anybody out there can show me how to create my first NFT, man, will get a date right away. I'm trying to create a new NFT. So the first guy that can do that, we going on a date.
Yeah, at least willing to learn how to. That makes sense. I would agree with that. We're going to go with Mike next. You
didn't pick me, huh?
Yep. Mix it up. I didn't want to go this way. Mix it up.
So I feel like building, you know, your ideal person or your perfect person in your sense is a person that can communicate. Definitely, that's 100%. A person that can understand that we go through problems and it ain't always time to leave because we're going through a problem. You know, every problem isn't like the end of the world. As long as we are communicating, as long as we can communicate with each other, you know, that's what matters the most. Like, a level of consistency about them. I need the honesty, of course, for me. Consistency is the key to everything for me. So consistency does everything. It comes right back full circle. And someone, you know, of course, there's my best friend. And I like what Crystal said, because that's exactly what I feel like I'm dealing with in my life right now. Mine is so heavy into investments and crypto and all this other stuff. She's like, hey, come on this adventure with me with it. I said, okay. Like I just want to go on the adventure now because I'm having so much fun. And I feel like we're learning things from each other. You know what I mean? Like, I think that is the biggest factor in me, is that if we are collaborating in life and we're doing things together, and you know how people say, oh, I can see a future with you, right? Mm-hmm. But when they say that and they look at the oh man, you know, I can have a housewife, you know, I can get the food, the cooking, the cleaning, and all this other stuff. You know, we can have children, this and that. I ain't gonna lie, that mentality, I ain't never been a fan of it. Since I was a kid, I was like, something about that just seemed restrictive, and something about that just seemed very, very boring and normal. I mean, I want like a family. I want to be able to have someone that cook for me, but I also want to cook for you too. I want to slam down on that motherfucker. I want to have nights where we having a cook off against each other. You know what I mean? I want to have like fun. I want to do all types of fun stuff. Yeah. I want to wake up and be like, let's go to this business we created. I've always thought about that. Like that's something that's fun for me. I'm like, let's do this business. I feel like Otis has that. He got even she probably sits she's somewhere in the horizon.
Yeah, she over.
Yeah, but you know that they got the business going together. I'm working. Me and Otis got the business going together, and I'm collaborating with my lady with the business together. Like,
beautiful.
You know what I mean? Like, this is what I want. But in that, I feel like I'm getting that little by little as I'm looking at it. Just little by little, what's happening? You know, she's still getting on my goddamn nerves. That don't stop the getting on my nerves part. She's like, don't go be telling people how you get on my goddamn nerves.
But that's normal though.
Yeah, no, ain't nothing wrong with it.
No, I'm saying like people think that that's not normal. People think like, oh, it's you know, sunshine and roses every day. It's not.
Nah, that should be fun. It do be fun sometimes. You know, it be fun sometimes. Sometimes.
Sometimes it's fun.
No, but that's just my idea. My perfect person. It's just all of that, and it's like just and let me do a little physical, John. Somebody who can dress up good, and you look at them like, God damn. I might have to tackle this motherfucker later. But go ahead, you can continue now.
Right?
Style.
Yes.
All right.
Let
loose.
I need someone just as complicated as me, because I'm a little bit of,
he coming with the toxic shit already.
I'm not toxic. I'm not
that
toxic.
Is that Virgo based
what I mean is like I'm a little bit of like I'm yin and yang is a really big thing for me. Like I there's a little bit of one side with a little bit of other, like, and I need that. Like I need someone that can be forceful and submissive, because I mean sometimes I need a push and other times I need you to follow me. You know what I'm saying? I need someone that can be a good listener, because sometimes I need to vent, but also need somebody that can express that to me. Like I need that back. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, yeah, exactly like Craig said, duality. Like that is the biggest thing in general to me. Like I need you to be able to be fluid. I need you to be able to be, you know, adaptable, because things change. Like on a daily basis, you never know what's going to happen on the next day. And yeah,
life happens.
Right.
Balance.
Life happens. That's I agree. So you good? Otis needs balance.
Yeah, that's that yin and yang. You can't when you ain't got that yang or yin, whatever one it is, whatever one you consider yourself to be. If you ain't the opposite, like
it's not gonna work.
Because that's why me and my brother, like based off what you said, Otis, me and my brother, it's so weird because I feel like we're the same person in different ways. Like me, if you meet my brother, you'll see the nicest, happiest person ever, but you wouldn't know his ass is mean. Me, on the other hand, I'm actually the complete opposite. I can come off, my face will make somebody think that I'm mad if I don't smile. But then he'd be like, "Man, this dude nice as hell, he cool as shit." Like that's what happens. Me and my brother, and I'm saying my brother would just be mean, but my brother is like a quick drink. Like you do something quick, you'll get it. Like me, it takes a long time to get me a certain way. So we call each other yin and yang. Like, you know.
That's a big one right there, Liv. Because, oh man,
they said my ideal man is able to tap into their emotions, but I gotta make him feel safe.
Can I give y'all this one, Crystal and Lady J? Do this if y'all can. And I know y'all probably do. I'm just saying it in the strength of that. I don't know if y'all doing it or not. If y'all do get a chance to do it,
let me
challenge your man in a safe way. Actually, make him understand. Like, what I mean by challenge, I mean this is what I mean. If you have expectations of what you want to do in your life and what matters to you, I'm giving you a situation that happened with me. I hope she don't mind that I talk about this. I don't think she did. We were good, having fun, everything like that. Me and Otis, you know, we're doing a business with her. She came to me, sat right in front of me and said, "You understand that this business that I'm doing is my life. You can't play with that." And I'm in a playful mood and everything, and had to change my mood completely over. Now, most people will get mad about that because they want to stay and they're happy. I didn't get mad at it. I just listened and I learned from it. I said, okay, I understand. Men have to be, y'all do that to y'all men. Like when y'all serious about something, if they serious about you, they got to be serious about everything about you. So if you got a blog that you're doing and he ain't promoting your blog, guess what? He ain't doing you no service.
You not the one, boo.
And Lady J got her business. If Lady J is throwing these joints right in here up on the screen for everybody to see, you know what I mean? Shout out to Decadent Delights, you know what I mean? You ain't getting these cakes without, you know. But if she throwing this up and you ain't doing shit to help her promote her business, one, if you're not on social media, you're doing her disservice. So you got to get your bitch ass on social media. Excuse me for calling you that, but it is what it is. You got to get on social media and push that business. Get all your friends and your family, push that business, because that's your wife's business or that's your lady's business or whatever it is. That's the number one thing I feel like y'all should definitely do, because giving them ass all the time ain't what they necessarily always deserve. We got to put that work in other ways too. You know what I mean? Like, it actually saves from being toxic, because that he actually got to think, oh, I ain't got control of that situation if he is some type of narcissist. Now he like, goddamn, like, she might change me in the midst of this stuff. I'm not saying that you know, a narcissist would be done, but just like for the most part, they gonna wind up changing the narrative on themselves because they think that they just got the perfect housewife, and realizing, nah, bro, that's a business lady right there. Right. That's a whole different entity that you about to deal with, right, that knows her worth and what she want to do. So
I'm all about it.
Lady J, you're up.
It's my turn. Okay. Let's see what we got. Okay. If I were to build if I was to take characteristics and make my perfect partner, I must agree with Mr. Mike. Well, I agree with all of y'all to some degree, but Mr. Mike Hennessy, that consistency. Mr. Mike Hennessy being in my life, he know how I feel about that consistency. That consistency is key. That consistency does it for me. I need somebody who is consistent, and we can't be consistent 100% of the time, right? Because we're human. I got it. But I need you to be more consistent than inconsistent. I definitely need somebody who is honest, okay? You don't need to lie to me. What do y'all see what the name of my podcast is? Lie to yourself, not me, okay? I take that very literally, okay? There was a reason why listen, it clicks now, right? So I don't like people who lie to me. Give me the option to be able to pick how I want to deal with something. So I need somebody who's honest with me. I need somebody who is consistent. I need somebody who can understand the way that I am wired. Because we are all wired differently. And so I need you to understand how I'm wired, and I need you to deal with me in the way that I'm wired. And I deal with you in the way that you are wired. I absolutely want somebody who is supportive of what I'm doing with that, whether it's podcasting, TikToking, baking, whatever it is I'm doing. I need you to be on board and understand that, hey, my life is very busy. And if I don't have the time right now, I promise I'll make it later. But I need you to let me do this. Consistent growth. Yes, growth. I need somebody who is emotionally whole. I need you to be emotionally whole. Like, I don't want to go into anything broken, and I don't need nobody else to come to me and you broken. Like, I can't do that. You gotta heal before what they say.
Crystal fucking
I consistently get on your nerves. Well, but you keep coming back though. So I need somebody who is emotionally and mentally healed from all of their trauma. Or like, I need you to be working on. You need to be real close, because I can't do that extra.
I hear that. I hear that quite often too. Out of women, I hear that quite often, especially a woman that's healed herself in her mind. In your way of healing yourself, you will hear somebody say it. They look at you real quick, like, be the cutest. I tell somebody all day, every day, you can look like Beyonce, be bad, got all the features. As soon as you start talking, I'm gonna be just like this. What's about to come out her mouth? What's about to come out? Exactly. Yep, just like that, disappear on you.
And it's unfortunate because I feel like I get in a lot of conversations with men in particular who be like, why you can't, like, y'all woman, y'all don't want to date the guy who's not quite there, right? And I really need men to understand that a woman who has been through things and is healed, it's not that we're not willing to support men who aren't quite there, right? It's just
ready, Liv, I need you to keep these fire ass things you're talking about and hold them. She already done wrote that she can't hold it. Liv, you gotta power down. Power down.
Wait, what she say?
No, she's good.
I'll bring it back.
She's just going in. She's ready for the shits.
Can women please stop saying I'm crazy and use that as an excuse to be absolutely abusive and be complacent with it, and then expect the man to be okay with it? Yeah.
We got to get Liv on here. I ain't gonna lie, y'all gonna need one topic next week. Liv is gonna like, spin that topic. Y'all gonna talk.
I like it. I'm here for it.
Gotta close the podcast. You pretty much right, but damn, power down. You like Broly and shit.
The last thing for me, probably, because we are coming to a close, is a romantic guy. I definitely 1,100,000,000% need somebody who is romantic. That don't mean you got to buy me flowers every weekend, okay? Romance comes in all different forms. I'm gonna need y'all to understand that, okay?
You can tickle her. You can play with her.
Listen, it can be right in the house. We can sit and watch a movie together, spend time, hold hands, cuddle up, boo, have some cheese and crackers and wine right there in the living room, okay? We can do all that.
Walks.
Listen.
Listen.
I'm just all of that, okay? I just need you to put that effort in. I need matched energy. So yes, so that's mine. So before we go, let's have everybody tell us where we can find you at. Miss Crystal, where can we find you?
I got you.
It's Crystal Dominique here. You can find me on IG at My Thoughts Could Be a Blog. The blog is coming soon, so follow me there because you will get updates of when the blog.
For sure.
Launch lots of work. My sleeves are rolled up. I will say I launched a Twitter. You don't have this information, Mike, but I launched a Twitter. I've never been on Twitter, but I'm learning that with the blog, I think Twitter is the best avenue to really speak and communicate the way I want to with my audience. So if you would also follow me at I am Crystal D.
You can type that in real quick.
Yeah, you can type that in on Twitter.
Your
It's
finger,
new.
I'll be like this, like
I only have a couple posts, but definitely IG. My thoughts could be a blog because I'm going to keep my audience updated there about when the blog information is available. And I'm like moving into the Twitter age, team. I'm late. I know. I've never been a Twitter fan, but I am Crystal CrystlD. Follow me because I'm brand new and I don't have any friends.
Is I am Crystal D?
I am Crystal CrystlE, no A, and then D as in Dominique.
And it's @ right?
Yes, on Twitter.
Making sure.
That's a newbie. I didn't get a chance to share that with you guys, but I need some friends on there to talk to. Why is it all caps?
They're supposed to. Sorry,
I'll fix that. It look like somebody. That's how Lady J people's be. They be in all caps all the time. They get in her live and start yelling at her.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna need you to tone it down.
Don't it feel like they coming in the room like, hey, how you doing? How's your day today? You like, can you lowercase it, please? So it sounds like you yelling at me right now.
Why is you yelling?
Right.
Certain ones that come in, and they feel aggressive because they be like, you missed me? All caps.
All caps. You missed me? Whoa. Hey, beautiful. You can feel the whole beautiful come out of there. Yeah. Man, to spit butterflies out his mouth for just saying that.
There we go.
Thank you. And that's my Twitter. So stay posted. Not much content happening right now, but lots of content in the works. So just follow me so you can just know, when
Stay
it's
out of DMs, y'all. Stay out of DMs.
It's okay. I have all that like on restriction anyway.
All right.
I'm very good
at it's silence.
So, Mike, we'll go with you because I know LaLouche only has like a little bit for his stuff. So go ahead, Mike.
All right. They can find me every goddamn where. You know what I mean? I don't think I have none of my stuff here. I don't, but everybody usually is on here and knows exactly where to find me. It's very easy. It's Mike Hennessy with 2 E's and 2 S's in there. Yes, I got 2 S's in there. HENNESSY. A lot of people spell it with 1 S. I'm just giving it to you the way that it should be. It's right there too
on the screen. Right and it's 215 at the end of it, right?
It's 215. Literally on everything. TikTok.
Not YouTube.
Yeah, not YouTube. Facebook, I think I am on YouTube as Mike Hennessy 215. I think we made a YouTube, but it's like, for the most part, if you find me on Blurred Approved Entertainment, you'll see me somewhere saying something. So that's usually where I'm at. So,
Mr. LaLouche.
You can find me on Instagram at lelouch.v. I was mistaken to know when I said that before. It is not like how it is on the screen. It's lelouch.v. I'll get my life together and have that on screen in a perfect visual soon. I promise. I've just been busy, y'all. But yeah, that's the only place I'm at. Oh yeah, and I think I'm on Twitter now. I think LaLouche V1. I might be. I haven't started.
They all know. Yet. And then y'all know where y'all can find me. I love TikTok. It's my favorite place to be, y'all. Spend a lot of time there. Lady J1111 on TikTok. On my business pages, Instagram is _Jays_Decadent_Delights. My Facebook business page is just Jay's Decadent Delights. And then you can find me also on Instagram at LadyMan2008. Make sure that you follow all of us wherever you can. Make sure you follow all Blurred Approved Entertainment. Y'all can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please follow, subscribe, click all of the stuff, all the bells, all the whistles, click all of it so y'all could be notified every time we're on.
I have one more for you.
You have one more?
Your YouTube.
My YouTube. Sorry, I'm new with the YouTube. I keep forgetting about it. Also, I am on YouTube and I need some followers. Y'all come follow me on YouTube, please. Tell me what you want to see on there. I am Lady J, just Lady J on YouTube. But y'all come follow me on there, please. I'd appreciate it. So I can start getting some stuff out on there too. Hopefully we can start getting some of the podcasts out on there as well. I appreciate y'all's time. Thank y'all for joining us. Again, make sure y'all go follow, like, and subscribe. All and everything Blurred Approved Entertainment. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Don't come back. Hey, just stay. Just go.